Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio, and today I am back with news of more bands. And once again, I am so confident about these that I am recording this video in advance, which either means I'm going to look pretty gosh darn clever, or I am completely and utterly wasting my time right now. We'll see, shall we? Essentially, we have the same band cards as Japan. We end up getting all of our cards, in terms of band, the same as Japan. It always happens. They usually get banned in Japan first, so shout out to Getsis, who got banned in Japan quite a while after he got banned over here. But we always end up getting banned with them. A little while ago, about 2 months ago, Unown Hand and Reset Stamp got banned. And although we didn't catch up with those bans, not initially at least, again, if I'm posting this video, then we have now, or at least largely caught up. If there's any changes, I'll have to edit this video afterwards, alright? The point is that Japan, a couple of weeks ago, went on a bit of a banning spree. They banned a whole bunch of cards. So now, it's time for us to stop and have a look at all these Pokemon that have been banned and why. I imagine, have uploaded very recently a video about the trainer cards being banned. Now we need to look at the Pokemon being banned. And the one that got banned in Japan a couple months ago was Unown Hand. Now this is one of those weird ones whereby if it is active and you've got 35 or more cards in your hand, you can win the game. Now in Standard, it's a very difficult thing to actually get working, but we have had a standard format version of this, which has been doing alright, at least over in Japan. It basically revolves around the Salazzle from Unbroken Bonds, discard a fire energy from your hand, draw 3 cards, and then we use Fire Crystal to get all of our energy back from the discard into our hand after discarding it, and we kind of run around in that way making it work. Now these bans, I should point out, and this has been the case for a long time, expanded only. Generally speaking, the bans we have are only in expanded, and the reason is because there's just so many more options and so many more broken combos. I mean, one amazing combo we've actually got with Unown Hand is using the Dual Brains Magnezone, which lets you play 2 supporters, and then those 2 supporters can both actually be Whitney. You will need to use Versus Seeker here, because Whitney's just a straight draw 7 as long as there's 3 in the discard pile. So you play Battle Compressor to discard 3 Whitney, play Whitney to draw 7, Versus Seeker to play Whitney again to draw another 7, that's 14 cards drawn just in one straight go. And generally when you play this, you also use it with the Sableye from Guardians Rising, which stops your opponent playing supporter cards, which slows them down enough that you can actually have time to get this up and rolling. It means your opponent can't play stuff like N. In theory, they can play Reset Stamp, but I just told you that Reset Stamp was banned in Japan 2 months ago and has just been banned over here, so we kind of had to ban Unown Hand. Honestly, as far as I'm concerned, the Reset Stamp ban had to then lead to an Unown Hand ban, because it's the best counter to it. Yes, I know we've got N, but it's your one support of a turn. It's not quite so easy. But when you ban Reset Stamp, you probably need to ban Unown Hand as well. So he got banned. That was one from a while ago, but we got a few other bans that happened in Japan very, very recently. We've got the Flabebe from Forbidden Light. Now, Flabebe from Forbidden Light has been out, and this might shock you, since Forbidden Light. So why are we only banning it now? And the answer is, there is a Florges and more importantly a Floette coming in Cosmic Eclipse, which break this card wide open. You see, the Flabebe from Forbidden Light allows you to evolve immediately during your first turn if you went second. Now your opponent's had a turn, but still you can evolve it going second. The problem is that Floette, when you evolve into it, you grab a random card from your opponent's hand, and you shuffle it back into their deck. But you could potentially do this like 4 times on turn 2. and just completely wreck your opponent's hand. And then as if that isn't bad enough, Florges has essentially the same ability, by which I mean double the ability, because Florges lets you take 2 cards. So you've got the 1 turn, first turn, turn 1 going second, where you get all your Floette, and then you've got Florges going on your second turn, potentially getting rid of 8 cards in their hand. And that's a bit ridiculous. Incidentally, I mentioned in the previous video how Chip Chip Ice Axe got banned. I really hope I predicted these bans right. This is going to get super annoying. And Chip Chip Ice Axe basically lets you just fix the top card of your opponent's deck. Though to be fair, that is only from the top 3. Hiker lets you do it from the top 5. This is just going to get annoying. Floette and Florges aren't so bad because it's a stage 2 and it's a little bit slow. And essentially what the card designers have decided is, well, you know what? Or whoever makes the choice on the ban's decision. Flabebe accelerates it by a turn, and that's enough. Now, one ban that I'm assuming you all saw coming at some point was Marshadow. Marshadow has been annoying people ever since it was released. But here's my question to you. Why now? We've all hated Marshadow since Shining Legends came out. Why is now the right time to ban it? And the answer is, See, the thing is, Marshadow, when you drop it, both players shuffle their hand into their deck and draw 4 cards. Now, this is really good on turn 1, because you go first, you play a bunch of cards, you play your supporter for the turn, and then when you're ready, you drop Marshadow, you get a new hand of 4 after setting up, your opponent gets a new hand of 4, by which I mean they start the game with a hand of 4, 5 time they draw for turn. So that's kind of annoying, right? And you can do this going first turn 1 and kind of lock your opponent out the game. It's no Getsis in terms of locking your opponent turn 1, but it's still a rather annoying card indeed. But we've got all that other stuff that's come around lately, like Jesse and James, which had to then go and be banned. Like, for instance, the Honchcrow, who's got the GX, that lets you discard 2 cards from your opponent's hand, and actually lets you choose which 2 you discard. Like Mars, for instance, where it's just a bit too much. And we end up with just a bit too much in terms of hand disruption and putting your opponent down to a 0-card hand. And maybe you're alright with that, and maybe you don't like these bans, because I know a bunch of people out there don't like this. But Pokemon have basically come out and said, you know what? We don't like this. We don't like that people out there on turn 1 or turn 2 of the game can look and have an empty hand and have had a Chip Chip Ice Axe played so that they've just got no options for next turn. It is a thing we're taking out of the game, and it's up to you whether you think this is good. There are plenty of people out there who look at the format at the moment and go, oh, it's Pikachu and Zekrom. It's Reshiram and Charizard. It's Mewtwo and Mew. Oh, so we're smashing with big tag teams, are we? Cool. And that is largely what the format is at the moment. Personally, I love the game so much, I don't really care what the format's like. But it does seem like the direction of the game is less, I'm locking you out the game, ha ha ha, you can't do anything, and more, look how much my big Pokemon are doing. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It's up to you whether you like it or not. But that seems to be the direction of the game, especially looking at the new wave of bans we've seen. And finally, unless I need to add one, we've seen a ban for Mismagius. You see, Mismagius is kind of annoying. Because Mismagius, you can KO it to draw until you got 7 cards in hand. Well, hang on a second. The new Magneton, you can do the same thing, except you search for free supporters. Why are we not banning Magneton? Well, partly because one of the supporters Magneton will get is Lieutenant Surge to let you play the other 2, and we are banning Lieutenant Surge. But secondly, Duskstone. Duskstone lets you evolve up into Mismagius on your first turn, or the turn you play it. So you can go first, play a bunch of Mismagius, and then play an N. Like I say, no reset stamp, but we have still got N. And you can literally go first, use 4 Mismagius, set up perfectly, because every time you use Mismagius, you draw till you got 7 cards in hand. You are going to have a good start using a bunch of Mismagius. And then drop an N. Because we haven't banned N. And that's going to lead to an awkward turn 1. So it's gone. We got rid of Island Challenge Amulet because of the combo with Jirachi. We got rid of Reset Stamp. So that we couldn't just wreck our opponent down to a 1 or 2 card hand turn 1. But we still have to get rid of Mismagius, because if we don't get rid of Mismagius, fine. We've got rid of the Island Challenge Amulet Jirachi combo, and we've got rid of Reset Stamp, but we've still got the option for Mismagius plus N, which could be almost as bad. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, 4 new Pokemon have been banned, and I'd like to know what you feel about this. Do you like these? Do you not like them? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but please be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.